Hi everyone, back in chapter 10, facial devices and technology. And in this section, 10-10, we're going to demonstrate how to safely and effectively use the high frequency machine. So high frequency machines, that's an apparatus that utilizes alternating or sinusoidal current, and which is a very smooth repetitive alternating current, AC, alternating current, and it does produce a heat effect. Now the high frequency oscillating current, what it does is it passes through this little device and it allows for Tesla pulse current. Now this current does produce a frequency of 60,000 to 200,000 hertz depending on how it's regulated. So what is hertz? Hertz is the reversal rate. So the electrons flow one way, then they go back this way, that's hertz. Then they go this way, and then they go back, that again is hertz. So it's the reversal rate. And because high frequency this current is capable of changing its polarity thousands of times per second, it basically has no polarity because it goes really, really fast back and forth, so it cancels out all polarity. So therefore it does not produce a chemical change in the skin. So this makes product penetration physically impossible. Product penetration is better achieved using the galvanic current. Okay, so the electrodes. Now there's several different types of direct and indirect electrodes with high frequency. These are direct. This is indirect with the spiral in the tube. And then here's some more electrodes. See, this one looks like a comb. That one looks like a spoon. This one is the sparking tip or the fulguration. So each of those electrodes that I showed you, they all have a unique benefit and feature that produces specific physiological reactions in aesthetic treatments. So if you guys use the high frequency machine, you do need to be trained in the procedure and how to use the different electrodes. So during manufacturing, what they do is most of the air is removed out of these little electrodes, and it creates a vacuum in this tube. And this air is replaced mainly with neon gas. However, you will find some with argon. Here shows you the neon gas in these. And you will find them, they're harder to find, the argon gas ones, but you can get them. Now, as electricity passes through these gases, that's when it emits these visible shades of light. So neon gas, that produces a pink, orange, and red light. So I put these two elements, they are on the periodic table. And so this one here is neon. And when you look at it, it says 10 underneath. So what that means is it has 10 protons and 10 electrons. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's in a state of equilibrium. Also, if you notice, the outer ring has 8, and that's what they want. They want 8 in their outermost ring, the minimum. And so when it has that, means it can't react with any other elements or any other like atoms. So here is neon, and neon has pink, orange, or red color, which I just showed you here. That's orange, so that's your neon. And then argon is blue or violet colored. And again, when we look at argon, there's 18 protons in the nucleus, and there's 18 electrons. Notice the outer shell, the valence shell, is full. It's got all it wants to hold. So it satisfies what we call the octet rule. And this argon is for oily skin or acne skin. Okay, so sometimes these lights are inaccurately called infrared or ultraviolet because of their colors. But however, there is no infrared or ultraviolet rays in high frequency. Now, another thing I want to talk about is I want to show you this one. This is nitrogen. And I just threw nitrogen up there to show you. It's nothing to do with these, but I just wanted to show you the difference. So see how these have the 8 in their outer ring? Well, nitrogen, it's 7. So you have 7 protons, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But notice they don't have pairs here. So that means another element can react with nitrogen. Okay, so that's why we don't use something like this, because it could be explosive. So we always use the noble gases, okay, in those. Now there's different, just like there's different forms of gas, there's different electrodes, and they come in all different sizes and shapes, as you can see here, okay, and here. All right, so we're going to go through and talk about each one of those electrodes. And the first one we're going to talk about is the small one right here. This is the small mushroom. And then there's the large, and then there's the indirect. So we're going to talk about the small one. So what you do is you take your electrode and you're going to place it in this handheld device right here, okay? And sometimes you got to give it a little gentle twist. Sometimes it just fits right in there, okay? And then you're going to adjust the rheostat on the machine. This is the rheostat here. You're going to adjust it. This one's up halfway. Usually I like to be right here. But you adjust the rheostat, so turn that. Some machines are not automatic, and you have to do that. Most of the machines I've seen, you have to adjust them. Now, what you're going to do is place your finger on this electrode right here. Now, this picture, not the best, because honestly, let me show you. You should have a gauze, like this one shows a gauze over the face. And see how she's grounding it before she touches the skin. Or you ground it when you lift the electrode off. So you're going to place your finger on the end of the electrode right here. Don't place it here, because I have, and I've got a little shock when I've done that. So I just learned I place my finger on the end here. Okay. And then you glide the electrode over the gauze in a circular motion on the skin. And you go across the forehead, then down the nose, onto the cheeks, and then the chin area. So when you want to remove it from the skin, again, you place your finger on here, and then you lift. And that eliminates any sparking. So you're grounding it when you touch it with your finger. Okay? Then once it's off the skin, then you reach over, turn off the power switch, which is right here, power switch. So you're going to turn that off. And then remove the little electrode from the handpiece. Okay? So, and then you take the gauze off the face. Now, the large mushroom, we're going to talk about that one right here. This is the large mushroom. And this large mushroom is used in the same way as the small one. But here's another effective way that you can use this apparatus. So what you want to do is pretend this is an electrode. I didn't have one with me here at home, but pretend this is an electrode. And you take a piece of gauze, and then you slide it over the electrode and up onto the handpiece. And then you'll ground it and place it on the skin, and then you'll start doing a circular motion, and then ground, of course, and lift. And what this does is it produces a small spray of sparks on the skin, and this is ideal for acne or problematic skin. Now, the facial finish, when you're at the end of a facial, you can take high frequency, they say, and use it at the end of your treatment over cream. So what you'll do, take the piece of gauze, place it all over the client's face and on their skin, and then go ahead and ground the electrode. Pretend this is my electrode. Ground it, and then you touch it to the skin, and then you start gliding in circular motions over the entire area. And once you're finished, then you remove the gauze. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on this. This is just my opinion. High frequency produces ozone. And this is me, I don't like to use it over any creams because of the ozone oxidizing the cream. So that's just my opinion. And I know there are other estheticians that believe the same way. So, you know, form your own opinion on this, guys. But that's just, I don't, because of that reason, because of ozone oxidizing the cream. All right, so now we're going to talk about this one here. It's called the indirect spiral, which is this one. That's the indirect spiral. And this one is used to stimulate the skin during massage. So what you want to do is, rather than this one, the reason they call it indirect is because it doesn't go directly on the skin. These directly, that's why they're called direct, they directly go on the skin. In this case, what you do, this treatment's really good for sallow and aging skin. So what you do is you give the handpiece, here, let me find my mark, pretend this is it, the electrode. And so what you're going to do is you're going to have the client grab it this way. Then you're going to have one of your hands on the client's skin while they're holding it in both their hands. And you reach over and turn on the switch. So you're going to turn on the switch and adjust your rheostat. Okay? And then what you do is you're going to do like a little tapotment over the face. So that's one way that you can use this indirect, where it's not directly touching the client's skin. Okay? So you want to make sure that your fingers of one hand are always touching the skin. Okay? And I turn the machine to low setting when you're using that. Okay? So it's kind of a piano movement on the skin. Okay? Now, and then again, to discontinue using this when you're using the indirect on a client, what you'll do is you'll reach over, while one hand is still on the client, reach over, turn the rheostat down, and then turn it off. And then you, of course, will disengage the electrode here. You'll take it out of the handpiece. Okay? And then that is indirect. And then the sparking tip, this is another one right here. Let me grab this. Okay, so this is the sparking tip right there. You can see this one. Now, this glass electrode is used to direct sparking to a specific area, like an acne lesion. So if they just have one acne lesion, say here, then you would just take this, and instead of grounding it, how we touch it and ground it and then go to the skin, you don't do that. You're going to just kind of hold it right above it and it'll send like a little spark of lightning onto the acne lesion. Now, sparking is visible and you do see it, and it does create this interesting zapping noise, kind of like a bug zapper in the summer. And what it does is it heals and disinfects that lesion, that acne lesion. So again, how do we use it? Well, we take the sparking tip, and you're going to, here, let me grab the right paper. You're going to grab the sparking tip, and you see the metal, place it in this little hand piece right here, and then you just put it right over the lesion like I was showing you, and then spark it. And then you can bring it and touch the skin with it. You're going to be sparking and then touch the lesion and then lift and then do it again. So do it for just a few seconds. Okay, you don't want to do it too long, because I have seen where people have done it too long in the past, and it has kind of caused like a little, not really a burn, but just kind of a little irritation to the skin. Okay, so you want to just make sure that that's how you don't want to do it too long. Okay, so then the next one that we're going to talk about is here, and this is the comb, and they also have one that's a rake. And to apply the comb electrode, you want to follow the directions just like we did on the mushroom. So you'll take it, put it in the handpiece, and then you will touch your hand on your finger on the end to ground it, and then you'll place it to the hair or the scalp, and then you'll comb the hair. And what that does is that stimulates hair growth. I have used it on people before. I don't know if it has really stimulated hair growth or not, so we didn't use it long enough to really know. But that's what they claim, is that it will stimulate hair growth. I've also read where you can use this comb on the face as well. I don't do that personally. It just kind of, it's a nuisance and it's too large. So I don't, but I know that there have been estheticians use the comb on the face. But mainly it's created for the scalp. Same with the rake. The rake is very similar, but it's shaped more like a rake. And it's for the scalp as well. All right, so when to use your high frequency. It is a useful and versatile tool. And you can apply it right after you do extractions. It's used over a product, but it won't penetrate the product, remember, like iontophoresis would. I personally don't use it over a product due to the ozone. That's just me. Because this machine does create ozone, it does have a germicidal effect, so it is killing bacteria due to that. But anyway, so have you ever done an extraction and it keeps on oozing out when you've extracted something out of the skin, pustule or whatever? This, when you do like the sparking tip, I can spark though with all these myself. Every one of those I've learned how to spark with those. I can do it as well with those, but the thing is, when you use that, it helps to heal it up and coagulate it. So the effects of our high frequency machine, it has that antiseptic and healing effect on the skin, and it stimulates circulation, and it does help to oxygenate the skin. Okay, so it is releasing oxygen due to the ozone. That's why I worry about it over creams. And then it increases cell metabolism, and it helps to coagulate and heal any open lesions. So after you do your extractions, then you take that little sparking tip, this one again, the sparking tip. It's called fulguration when you're doing that. And then you can go ahead and spark the skin. You can even use the mushroom to do that as well. And you just keep the mushroom turned on its side. So this would be turned on its side, and you can spark with it. And then this generates a warm feeling that has a relaxing effect on the skin. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the contraindications to this machine. And guys, it's very important that you know those before you implement this on any of your facial treatments. So you should not use this on clients with cuperose skin, inflamed areas, pacemakers, metal implants in the body, if they have heart problems or high blood pressure or braces, Okay, if if they have epilepsy, you could again send them into an epileptic seizure. And so don't use it with that. No pregnancy, obviously, no electrical anything on anybody pregnant. And then they say body piercings from the waist up. Okay, you should, if they have body piercings from there up, you should not. You want to avoid any contact with the metal. Another thing, chairs. If a person is sitting in a chair and it has metal arms, don't use this device. And then jewelry, metal bobby pins. So make sure that they remove all their jewelry. They don't have any braces or anything before you use this machine. Because what does metal do? We know metal is a conductor, right, of electricity. So you want to adhere to these guidelines when you're using this machine. So to avoid being burned, the client should avoid contact with any metal during the electrical machine treatments. I remember years ago I had a student, and she was afraid to touch it and ground it on the end. And I was telling her, just go ahead and touch it. It's not going to kill you. You don't have metal. You know, we went through all the contraindications. And so I'm like, just go ahead and use it. And so she touched it, but I didn't realize when she did, she had her elbow leaning up against a metal bowl of water. Okay, and the current went through to the bowl of water, and it gave her a little shock on her elbow, and it scared her to death again of the machine. She was scared to begin with, and I just kept on working with her and telling her, okay, come on, you can do this. Just don't obviously have your arm up against a metal bowl of water. And so she finally got over her fear, and she loved this machine, and she ended up buying one for herself. So anyway, another thing, make sure that clients remove all their jewelry and piercings prior to the treatment. And the technician, you should ground your finger on the electrode prior to applying it to the client's skin. Okay, and then when you're going to remove off the skin, ground and then lift. Okay, so the electrode should be continuously moving at all times on their skin, and the electrodes should be gently removed from the handpiece. When you're removing when you're pulling these out of the handpiece, just be really careful to avoid snapping this electrode, because they do break easy, and I've seen people break those before. All right, so we're going to talk about the safety and maintenance for high frequency machines. After each use, you want to clean these glass electrodes. Let me show you something here. Okay, so you want to clean these by washing them with some soap and water. I hold my finger right above this so I don't get the metal wet. You can't get the metal wet or it will ruin these electrodes. So I turn them this way, wash them with soap and water, and then I let the water just, rinse off of there. Okay, you don't want to use alcohol on these either. And then don't immerse them directly in water, the whole thing. Okay, only the glass end. Okay, don't get the metal part here wet. Okay, so when after I wash it with soap and water, I'll keep it like this, and I'll put it in a jar of Marvicide, Barbicide, or Leukocyde. And I just have the water level go to here. And you know how the jars have that little basket? So it sets there, and that way the metal can't fall in the water, and it just holds them. And then when I want to get them out after 10 minutes, then I just, pull up the basket and grab them out. And then I rinse that off. So then you're going to rinse it again with water. And then you want to, clean them with a towel and dry them, and then store them in an airtight closed container. Now, you don't want to place these either in the UV light in your towel cabbie, because it's glass or an autoclave, it's going to break them. So don't put them in there, okay? And unless they break or damage, most of those electrodes, they don't need to be replaced. So you want to keep in mind that they're very fragile though, and they do break easy. So you want to take extra care, wrap them in a soft material, and then store them in a drawer where they're not going to get knocked around and damaged. And some of your newer machines, when you buy them, when you buy these electrodes, they have a little styrofoam case, and you just place them back in there. Now, some of the newer machines also, like this one, this EquiPro, which I was telling you, EquiPro is such a good brand. See how you can store them like this? And then, so you just store them back on the machine. The only thing is you need to cover them with like a towel or something so they're not sitting out, you know, getting airborne pathogens on there. So you want to just cover them. And if you take really good care of those electrodes, they're going to last you for quite a few years, and they won't lose their power. So again, now that you're finished, then you want to clean this handpiece here. So remember how we clean cords and handpieces? We spray Lucocide on a rag and then wipe this down and then wipe down your cord. And then wipe down the whole machine, all the sides and the top and everywhere, and the back, okay? And then check with the manufacturer to see if there's any additional service requirements for your particular machine. All right, so that concludes this section on the high frequency machine. And guys, I need you to read through, there is a little procedure, it's called 10-3, use the high frequency machine. So I need you to read through that and then go back through and reread this section. Okay, there is a check-in question, and the check-in question that you need to answer and then email it to me at oliverfinley.com is, it's Krista@oliverfinley.com. Okay, and it is, what is the high frequency machine used for? Okay, so after you do that, then I need you guys to, there's a little do section, chapter 10 do. It's the high frequency, it's a true and false test, little quiz. And then there's another do section, it's the high frequency machine case study. So go ahead and do that as well. All right, so that's all we have for this section, and I'll see you in the next one.